Look who figured it out. Hello to the ones who stopped fighting their shadow and started flying with it. Hello to the beautiful disasters who looked their darkness in the eye and said, "Not my enemy, my ammunition." Hello to you because something shifted, didn't it? Something they never saw coming? They thought they were clever, didn't they? Thought they could manifest your downfall by creating a version of you that would destroy you from the inside out. Your evil twin, your dark reflection, your opposite frequency. They whispered it into existence, fed it with their envy, shaped it with their fear, gave it form with their projections. They wanted you to meet yourself and collapse, wanted you to face your shadow and shatter, wanted the collision to be your extinction event. But here's what they didn't calculate. Here's the variable that broke their entire spell. You didn't fight it. You didn't run from it, didn't try to destroy it, didn't beg the universe to take it away. No, no, no. You did something far more terrifying. You looked at that so-called evil twin, that manifestation of everything you were supposed to fear about yourself, and you smiled. You extended your hand and said, "Let's see what we can build together, shall we?" And that moment right there, that's when their plan imploded. Because, see, they were counting on your shame, banking on your self-hatred, investing heavily in your inability to accept all of yourself. They thought if they could just show you your rage, your ruthlessness, your capacity for destruction, you'd recoil, you'd apologize, you'd shrink back into the acceptable version they needed you to be. They manifested your twin thinking it would be your executioner. But what they actually did was hand you the missing piece of your power, the part of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't negotiate, doesn't play nice. They summoned the version of you that survives without approval, that thrives in isolation, that doesn't need their permission to exist. And when you merged with it, instead of rejecting it, when you integrated instead of fragmenting, you became something they have no defense against. You became whole, weaponized, wholeness, the kind that doesn't apologize for its darkness because it's learned to fly with it. Now you're not just you anymore. You're you multiplied. You're the light and the shadow working in perfect sync. You're the thesis and antithesis, creating a synthesis they never imagined possible. They wanted civil war. You created a coalition. They wanted self-destruction. You built self-mastery. Let me tell you what's really happening now. Everywhere you go, there's a disturbance in their force, a glitch in their matrix, because you're moving with double power now. You've got the socially acceptable version of yourself handling the daylight operations, and you've got your so-called evil twin running night ops, handling the cold calculations, making the ruthless decisions, executing the strategies that the old you would have been too nice to implement. They can't track you anymore because you're operating on two frequencies simultaneously. You're the angel in the boardroom and the demon in the war room. You're the smile they see and the storm they sense but can't prove. Your evil twin isn't evil at all. It's just the part of you that refuses to be a victim, the part that sees manipulation and cuts it off at the source, the part that doesn't waste time on people who wasted time on you. And now that you've made it your co-pilot, now that you've stopped fighting yourself and started fighting with yourself, you're unstoppable because you're unreachable. They can't guilt you anymore because your twin doesn't feel guilt for surviving. They can't shame you anymore because your twin wears shame like armor. They can't manipulate you anymore because your twin sees the game 3 moves ahead and flips the board before they can make their play. Here's the part that's breaking their minds right now. You're not torn anymore. You're not conflicted. You're not the walking identity crisis they predicted. You're integrated, unified, operating as one being with two modes of consciousness. And that integration is what's making you magnetic in ways they can't comprehend. People are drawn to you now, not despite your darkness, but because of how comfortably you wear it. Because there's no pretense anymore, no performance, no apologizing for the parts of you that make weak people uncomfortable. Your evil twin taught you something they never wanted you to learn. That your darkness isn't a flaw, it's a feature. That your capacity for cold precision isn't cruelty, it's clarity. That your ability to walk away without explanation isn't heartless, it's self-preservation perfected. And now you move through the world like someone who's made peace with every version of themselves. Someone who doesn't need external validation because internal alignment is the only compass you follow. They manifested your twin thinking it would divide and conquer. But all they did was double your strength, multiply your awareness, amplify your presence into something that doesn't just enter rooms, it alters the atmospheric pressure the moment you arrive. You want to know what's really happening in their group chats right now. They're panicking because the spell backfired. They tried to curse you and accidentally blessed you. They tried to split you and accidentally made you whole. They tried to weaponize your shadow and accidentally handed you the keys to unlimited power. Because here's what they forgot. Shadows don't destroy light, they complete it. Darkness doesn't oppose power, it concentrates it. Your evil twin wasn't your enemy, it was your equal, waiting for integration. And now that you've merged, now that you're running operations with your full self, not just the parts they approved of, you're operating at a level of effectiveness that's making their carefully constructed facades look like cardboard cutouts. They're watching you make moves they don't understand, watching you navigate situations with a precision that seems almost surgical, watching you cut ties without hesitation and form alliances without sentiment, watching you build an empire on principles they can't decode because you're not following their playbook anymore. You wrote a new one, co-authored with the version of yourself they tried to make you fear. And every chapter is a masterclass in how to win without apologizing for your methods. Your twin taught you that mercy is a choice, not a weakness. That ruthlessness applied strategically is just efficiency. That some bridges deserve to be burned because they only led to places that drained you anyway. Let's go deeper into what this integration actually looks like in practice. Because this isn't some mystical, abstract concept. This is tangible, operational reality. Your acceptable self handles the networking, the small talk, the social lubricant, while your twin handles the boundary enforcement, the strategic withdrawals, the necessary eliminations. Your light self builds connections. Your shadow self audits them for authenticity and cuts the fake ones without ceremony. Your public face maintains diplomacy. Your private operator executes justice. And the beauty of it, the absolute poetry of it, is that they can't tell which one they're talking to at any given moment. Because you've become so fluid in switching between frequencies that there's no seam, no transition, no warning. One moment you're warm, approachable, relatable. The next moment your eyes shift, and suddenly they're talking to the part of you that doesn't forget, doesn't forgive, doesn't negotiate. And they can't manipulate what they can't map. They can't control what they can't predict. They can't defeat what they can't separate. You've become a unified field of consciousness. Light and shadow dancing together in perfect rhythm. And that dance is so mesmerizing, so hypnotic, so utterly captivating that even your enemies can't look away. Now, here's where it gets truly diabolical. Your evil twin isn't just helping you survive, it's teaching you to thrive in territories you would have never entered before. It's the voice that says, yes, you can walk away mid-conversation. Yes, you can ghost without explanation. Yes, you can prioritize yourself so aggressively it looks like arrogance to people who are used to you shrinking. Your twin is the one that reminds you that loyalty unreturned is stupidity, not virtue. That forgiveness given to the unrepentant is enabling, not healing. That sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is become absolutely unreachable to people who only valued you when you were accessible. And because you've made your twin your co-pilot instead of your enemy, you're not doing these things from a place of bitterness or revenge. You're doing them from a place of cold clarity and self-preservation. There's no emotion clouding the decisions, no guilt contaminating the execution. Just clean, precise action based on accurate assessment of who deserves your energy and who needs to be archived in the Do Not Resuscitate folder of your consciousness. Your twin sees people for what they are, not what you wish they were, sees situations for their actual dynamics, not the fantasy versions you used to impose on them. And now that you're flying with that vision instead of fighting it, you're making moves that look psychic to outside observers. They're studying you now like you're an alien species, trying to understand how you went from vulnerable to invulnerable, from accessible to untouchable, from predictable to incomprehensible. And the answer is sitting right there in the co-pilot seat, grinning, because your evil twin is the part of you they tried to kill and accidentally awakened instead. It's the phoenix that rose from the ashes of every betrayal, every abandonment, every moment you were too nice and got punished for it, every time you played by their rules and lost anyway. Your twin is the crystallized wisdom of every lesson pain taught you, compressed into an operating system that runs in the background of your consciousness, constantly scanning for threats, constantly calculating optimal responses, constantly protecting the parts of you that are still capable of love by ensuring nothing unworthy gets close enough to damage them. And now that you've stopped fighting this protection system and started collaborating with it, you've become functionally immune to the manipulation tactics that used to work on you. They can't guilt trip the twin. They can't gaslight the shadow. They can't love bomb the part of you that's already seen through every performance they're capable of staging. Here's what's keeping them up at night. You're happy, genuinely, authentically happy in a way that doesn't depend on their validation or participation. You and your twin have formed an internal alliance so strong that external approval has become optional, decorative at best. You've learned to have full conversations with yourself, the light proposing ideas and the shadow stress testing them for weakness, the acceptable self suggesting trust, and the twin running background checks on anyone who asks for it. You've become your own counsel, your own support system, your own validation engine, and that self-sufficiency is what's making you absolutely terrifying to people who were used to being needed by you. They remember when your happiness depended on their texts, their presence, their approval. And now you're out here glowing with an internal power source they have no access to, no influence over, no way to short circuit. Your twin taught you the most dangerous lesson of all, that you don't need anyone. That connection is a choice, not a necessity. That you're complete with or without external relationships. And once you truly internalized that truth, you became unfuckwithable. Not because you're isolated, but because you're sovereign. Not because you're closed off, but because you're self-contained. Not because you hate people, but because you no longer need them to complete you. Let me paint the picture of what your enemies are seeing right now. They're watching someone who was supposed to be destroyed by their shadow instead pilot it like a fighter jet through every obstacle they throw up. They're watching someone who was supposed to fracture into pieces instead integrate into something more powerful than the sum of its parts. They're watching their manifestation, their curse, their psychological warfare backfire so spectacularly that you're now using the weapon they tried to kill you with to build an empire they can't compete with. Your evil twin isn't your burden, it's your secret advantage. The ace up your sleeve that they handed you thinking it was a grenade. And every day you wake up and choose integration over internal warfare, you're essentially telling them thank you for the upgrade. Thank you for manifesting the missing piece of my power. Thank you for trying to destroy me because all you did was complete me. And that gratitude, that twisted, ironic gratitude, is the ultimate flex because it means they failed so completely that you're actually appreciative of their attempt to ruin you. They wanted to see you broken. You showed them breakthrough. They wanted to see you fighting yourself. You showed them unity. They wanted to see you lost. You showed them navigation systems they don't have access to. Now we enter the operational phase, the part where theory becomes practice and integration becomes domination. Because you and your twin aren't just coexisting, you're collaborating, strategizing, executing plans that would make your old self uncomfortable but your new self recognizes as necessary. Your twin handles the eliminations, the cold goodbyes, the relationships that need to be archived, while your light self handles the cultivation of new connections that actually serve your growth. Your shadow does the vetting. Your light does the welcoming. And together, you've created a filtration system so effective that only the real ones make it through. You've stopped wasting energy on people who only showed up when it was convenient. Stopped entertaining conversations with those who only called when they needed something. Stopped playing therapist to people who never asked how you were doing. Your twin taught you that energy is currency, and you've been giving it away to bankrupt accounts. That attention is investment, and you've been funding ventures with zero return. That your presence is a gift, and you've been leaving it on doorsteps of people who didn't even answer when you knocked. So now you move different. You speak different. You exist different. Because you're operating from a place of integrated power, not fragmented desperation. They're calling you cold now, aren't they? Calling you changed, calling you different, and your twin just smiles. Because cold is what they call people who stopped letting themselves be burned. Changed is what they call growth when it doesn't benefit them. Different is what they call you when you stop being who they needed you to be and start being who you were always meant to become. Your evil twin doesn't care about their labels, their judgments, their assessments, because it knows that people who benefited from your weakness will always be threatened by your strength. People who profited from your confusion will always resent your clarity. People who needed you small will always be uncomfortable with your expansion. And because you've integrated this understanding, because you've made peace with being misunderstood by people who never really tried to understand you anyway, you're free in ways that terrify them. Free to walk away, free to say no, free to prioritize yourself so aggressively it looks like narcissism to people who are used to you sacrificing yourself on their altars. But you're not a sacrifice anymore. You're a strategist, and your twin is the one writing the playbook. Here's the final piece that's driving them absolutely insane. You're winning. Not just surviving, not just getting by, but actually winning. thriving, ascending to levels they said weren't possible for someone like you. And you're doing it with your evil twin, not despite it, doing it because you stopped rejecting the parts of yourself that made you powerful and started leveraging them instead. Your twin is the reason you can make decisions without drowning in guilt. The reason you can cut losses without mourning forever. The reason you can see opportunities others miss, because you're not blinded by the need to be liked. Your shadow vision sees through facades, spots, red flags, calculates risk-reward ratios in real time, while your light vision sees potential beauty possibility. And together, you're operating at a level of awareness that makes you seem almost precognitive to people who are still fighting their own shadows instead of flying with them. They manifested your evil twin to take you down. You made it your co-pilot instead. And now you're both running operations they can't even begin to comprehend because they're still stuck in the paradigm of light versus dark, while you've transcended into light and dark, working in perfect synthesis. So here's what happens next. You keep flying. You keep integrating. You keep letting your twin handle the operations that require cold precision, while your light self handles the ones that require warmth and connection. You keep building your empire with both hands, one extended in friendship to the worthy, and one clenched in a fist, ready to defend against the unworthy. You keep moving through the world as a unified field of consciousness, no longer apologizing for your complexity, no longer shrinking to make simple people comfortable, no longer fighting the parts of yourself that they tried to convince you were shameful. Your evil twin isn't evil. It never was. It's just the part of you that refuses to die, refuses to submit, refuses to be anything other than fully, authentically you. And now that you've embraced it instead of exiling it, now that you've made it your partner instead of your prisoner, you've become something they have no framework for understanding. You're not the hero they wanted you to be. You're not the villain they tried to make you. You're the integration of both. The shadow and the light dancing together in a way that creates something entirely new, entirely unstoppable, entirely yours. They manifested your downfall. You manifested your ascension, and the only thing they can do now is watch as you and your twin rewrite every rule they thought was written in stone.